Welcome back to bonus segment of Herd Out Sports Live. I'm Robbie Lula. That's Jacob Padilla here with me. We want to talk a little hoops. We'll call this a little Blue Jay breakdown with Creighton getting off to their season, getting their season off to a start with a 92-76 win over South Dakota. JP, how you doing this morning?
Doing pretty well.
Yeah.
Good to talk with you.
Yeah, we got to watch most of the game together yesterday after I finally navigated the bowels of the stadium and all the new kind of nooks and crannies that they had going on there. But we got there, was able to catch most of it.
I mean, first game struggles for everybody.
You got to work out the kinks.
Yeah.
You know, I had to go pick up my press pass, and then I was not in a spot that I normally am in. So, we got to work some things out. We're all right. We'll make it. But no, we gotta watch the game together for the most part. And I was really interested. One of the first things I noticed, and I think we talked about a little bit, was just how much it seemed like a lot of the rotation lineups had not played together yet because of injuries, not being available for whatever reasons. How much of that did you think showed up last night?
Definitely. And McDermott talked about it specifically with the center spot and starting Jackson McAndrew and Isaac Trout together. And they've gone through like some of their just like live stuff, whatever, where they're just playing. Has been a little bit, but not much. And they certainly basically, if they're going smaller, Jason Green has been doing all the 5-man stuff,
especially
even
defensively.
If he and Isaac are out there together.
Yeah.
Well, and even offensively, he's the one setting the screens, posting up, doing all the 5-man stuff that balances out their offense.
Sure.
Because Isaac's doing what he does well.
He's doing shooting stuff
on the perimeter.
Yeah.
So I think there's probably a little bit of that kind of impacting the start and just guys kind of not necessarily in positions where they practice a ton at. So it's not, and you've got Blake Harper, Nick Graves, new guys out there that are still kind of adjusting to where to be on every set and everything. And for the first time, it's live and there's actual real pressure and all that stuff. So definitely saw some stagnation early on. A lot of their action wasn't really threatening or producing a whole lot. Eventually, they got into a flow. They didn't shoot the ball great the entire night.
No, like 30% from three.
Yeah, there's one stretch there. They made like 3 out of 7 over when they finally started to get going. And it's like, okay, now guys are starting to hit. But I think that's certainly part of it. And also, I think that kind of we came into it with questions, and because of the state of the active roster for this game, all those questions are still out there. We have no idea heading into Gonzaga what.
Zero answers.
Yeah, all the questions we've been asking all season that McDermott said, I don't know either. One game in,
still don't know.
Nobody played more than 26 minutes. They played 12 guys, 11 of them scored. We had guys out of position. I don't know how exactly this is going to play out when they get to Spokane, but I guess we'll have to wait and see.
Of the guys that got minutes yesterday, I think it's safe to assume that McChesney and Shane Thomas probably won't threaten for minutes in competitive games. Townley Thomas might.
Yeah, I mean, depending on how healthy they are and I think they're at a point now where they're okay throwing him out there. Like, he's been productive defensively. Even in this game, he was productive offensively.
Yeah,
they got him a couple of dunks. Had the little floater that is basically his entire arsenal. And I know you don't like it, but that's what he works on.
He had one dunk.
Technically, it was a dunk in the box score, so we're going to give him credit for it, especially because he proved it. He followed it up.
We had a dunk and aggressive layup. That's what we had, and then a floater. No, he played well. I do think that's interesting because, especially with the history of Owen Freeman, who has never played a ton of minutes.
Yes,
I think he's topped out at 24-ish.
About that.
And so some of that's foul trouble. Some of that I think is just how Iowa wanted to run the rotations. But I wouldn't expect him to be a, Ryan Kalkbrenner 34, 36.
Even 30 at this point. Especially coming off the injury.
Yes. Early, certainly not going to get to 30. I think maybe if he can stay out of foul trouble, they try and get him to 28, 30 eventually. But that's going to leave minutes for Josh Townley Thomas or Conan when he comes back.
Yeah. And then also Jason Green will be an option. And that's, again,
at 5, as we mentioned before.
That's the biggest, Jason being out, and fortunately it was a short-term thing. Like Max said, he expected him back in practice today. But Jason is your starting 3. your primary backup 5, depending on the matchup.
Yeah.
And
Can also play the 4 if he has to.
Yeah, exactly.
And so, can guard like 2 through 5, kind of like.
Yeah, depending on the
matchup. Depending on
the way the guys play, and he's does a lot of the kind of glue guy hustle things that help lineups pull together. So like him being out was huge. Like they weren't able to roll out with anything that they planned for, basically, with him being gone. And that was like he practiced last Friday or whatever.
So pretty late in the game.
I don't know if it happened on the Saturday practice or after that, but didn't practice Monday, did practice Friday. So at some point in there, they knocked him out. So it's just they had a few days to prepare without him, figure out, all right, what are we going to do?
And what we saw was basically no lineups that had any type of real chemistry because of that, right? Like,
yeah, that was definitely part of it. And so Blake Harper started, which the trickle down effect of it's hard to make sense of the backup guard wing spots.
Sure.
Like those were the biggest questions heading into it. Like how would those minutes be distributed? And we saw
zero resolution there.
We saw Fedor Zugic and Ty Davis. They were the first guards off the bench.
I was surprised with Ty, honestly, being before Schwartz.
And then Schwartz, it was after that, didn't come until later, but he played more minutes than those two.
Yeah.
But he was also in there for kind of the end of the game, whatever. So it's hard to, I thought his minutes looked pretty good. I'm not shocked, just based on McDermott's kind of habits in the past and what he values. Like, we'll see how that evolves, like that kind of what are they going to do when Graves is off the court? Is it just going to be Davis for 5 to 10, however many minutes a game, or do they get a little bit more creative, like putting the ball in Dix's hands and getting Schwartz more minutes? Like how
we saw a lot of
Fedor still.
We saw a lot of Harper kind of play, like bringing the ball up at least in that sense, point guard spot, which he did a lot for Howard last year. I do find that interesting as well as just kind of another option.
Oh, and the way they push the pace, like you don't need a point guard to run any kind of sets or get you organized if you just run it up the court and hit shooter or throw it to Freeman, running the floor and getting dunks, which we saw a ton of that in the second half. But better teams, you are going to have to slow things down and execute in the half court. So,
run some offense. Yeah.
We'll see about that moving forward. But that is, I think, again, there's so many of these guys that could play multiple positions that makes it, on the one hand, makes it easier. Like once they get to their decision, like they've got some flexibility there. But on the other, that complicates it because it throws more
probably takes longer
into the decision.
Yeah, it probably takes longer to figure out. Once you do figure it out, you are in a pretty good spot.
Yes.
We talked about Owen Freeman a little bit. Started off a little rusty. You could tell he maybe wasn't in game shape yet, but ended up having a nice night.
Well, and right off the bat, you can see first play out there, bit on a pump fake, got blocked on a kind of reverse move where he didn't get off the ground, and like, he was really rusty in the Colorado State game too, and you could tell, and it looked like more the same to start the game.
Because he missed almost all of preseason, right?
Yeah. And the week before the Iowa State game, they started easing him into some of their live stuff. But it was still part-time. And then this week he was out of practice when I went there on Monday. They held him out, just had him do the walkthrough stuff or whatever. I think they're just being really cautious with him. On the other hand, they know they need to get him reps. That's the only way that they're going to get him up to speed. But that rough start, and then subbed out 2.5 minutes. That was his first stint. He came in at the under 16 timeout and didn't even make it to the under 12. They went to JTT there to get him out, and then came back in, missed a dunk, got the rebound, and went up and finished it, and did not miss again.
Didn't miss a shot after that.
In the game, finished with 19 points in 19 minutes. There was some rough moments defensively, but he also went and he blocked a dunk. Had a few plays where he made some nice ones, but Mac also kind of lit into him after one rough defensive possession. And so it's very much a work in progress. But again, putting up 19 points in 19 minutes in clearly not 100%. That kind of shows what he's going to be able to do in this system with this tempo, the way they play, the way they're able to generate post touches within their offense. Once he does get up to full speed.
So let me ask you about the defensive side of things, because I heard a lot of concerns, coming in and then again last night about, being able to stop teams. I thought defensively they played okay for stretches. I certainly didn't think – I thought they played better in the exhibitions defensively than they did last night. When we talk about chemistry, a lot of times we think of it only on the offensive side of the ball. But for the way Creighton runs their team defense, like that's a pretty critical part of it as well, right?
Yeah. And so South Dakota, they went a little bit smaller. They went with 4-guard look, and you saw guys like Trout and Harper and guys like that having to guard smaller, quicker guys, and gave up some drives and some finishes there in those matchups. But even beyond that, like Matt was talking about, a lot, they gave up 48 points in the paint. Not ideal. But he said a big problem was just guys kind of understanding who you're guarding and where you need to be based on that, as far as help versus sticking to your man. And
sure,
are you guarding a shooter or not? And that's just all the mental things that they rep in practice, and they stop. Trust me, they've stopped practice a lot to hammer on this stuff, but they've had limited opportunities to get out there and actually do it when the bullets are live and when there's pressure on, and when the speed of the game is so much faster than what you're doing in practice, where it is so controlled. So I think definitely it's a work in progress, and that's what McDermott called it in his opening statement. Work in progress is specifically kind of the first line that he gave, and I think we can all see that. So there are definitely some areas for concern, but there are also some of the problems are definitely fixable. So we'll see kind of how that evens out as far as, all right, how much of this is they're just going to have to outscore teams, and how much of it is first game and guys are all learning how to play together, and they'll still they're going to be better down the line.
Okay, last thing on the men's side before we get to the women who also started their season this week. Hudson Greer, really big recruit for Creighton. Looked kind of over the summer like he was going to be part of the rotation, get minutes. It appears as though he may end up redshirting this year, or at least that's a conversation they seem to be having.
Yeah, so he didn't suit up, and McDermott said, like, we're in the process of having the conversations about whether to redshirt or not. And with that being the case, with no decision made, hold him out just to keep that on the table.
Yeah, sure.
And it's not like you needed him in that game. So it's a really complicated thing. One, you've got the kind of the 5-year thing hanging over the top.
Sure.
Like, he's a freshman. So if that comes in the 4 years, does that mean that he would waste a year for nothing when he could have gotten some minutes here or there?
Or do they give him a bonus year? I got to know how they'll decide it, right?
Exactly. So that's, so our guys that do redshirt, are they grandfathered in because the rule hadn't passed when they made that decision? So that's a factor. We just talked about, like, we have no idea what's going to happen in the backup wing minutes. And that's like, so if Ty Davis plays, you're looking at Swartz, Zugic, and Harper all off the bench, plus Trout at the 4. Like, those are 3 guys for basically 2 spots, unless Davis gets bumped down a little bit and you slide one of those guards over to handle more of the point, and then that opens up some wing minutes. But even then, you're still, like, go through and try to do the exercise.
Yeah, try and find the minutes.
Distributing out minutes and putting into the rotation. Like I did it last week, and it's like, geez, like, it's really hard to get guys enough minutes, like,
even with Greer being out.
Yes,
or
not even
potentially redshirted.
Right? Yeah, because that when I first kind of had the notion that might be on the table. So,
and that's really the development of Schwartz and Harper.
That's
the big X factor here,
yes.
right?
Without a doubt, based on everything I've seen, Greer was ahead of Harper in the summer during their workouts at the start of the year. Harper, the last month of preseason practice and getting ready for the season, just a light turned on, and he just really turned it up. And he's been one of their better players in practice and their live stuff. So that's a huge development. And then Swartz and Fedor, like, older guys like that. Yeah. Basically, Hudson's competing for minutes with guys that have all played a lot of college basketball, and he's a true freshman. He's talented. He's still shown that, like, he's different than everybody else.
Yeah, he's got a different skill set.
Yeah, he's like, they've asked guys to redshirt in the past, and some have done it, some haven't. Like, he's more talented. He's more ready to help the team than a lot of those guys in the past. This is strictly about, all right, what's more valuable to him and to us, is saving the year or getting him whatever minutes are there. And for him, like, what would be more frustrating is sitting out the entire year but knowing what the plan is, or coming into every game
getting
not having
minutes
any idea.
Here,
yeah. Like, am I going to play today? Am I not?
Yeah.
Like, what can you do if you're getting him 5 minutes a game? What does that do for him? Does that help? And then
Yeah, does that help him develop at all?
Is it better for the team and for the player in question to give one guy like 10 to 12 minutes or split that up 5 to 6 for two different guys? Can you get into any kind of rhythm and gain anything from that? Can you help the team if that's what you're doing? So like those are all the factors they have to consider. And then obviously the conversations with the redshirting is always a two-way street.
Yeah.
You got to know where his mindset is, where his family's mindset is. This is a guy that is important to their future. They want to keep him a part of this core. It's just they've got to, because of the Fedor situation, they've got one more guy than they initially planned
for a large portion of the offseason, they thought Fedor was not going to be ruled eligible.
Yeah, so they went and got Blake Harper.
Yeah, they got an extra guy.
The extra guy to fill those wing minutes. And now you had Fedor back in the mix. That bumps down the freshman behind guys that have played before.
Which, ironically enough, last year, because we saw this with Jackson McAndrew last year, Hudson Greer 100% would have played.
Yeah.
Like, no questions asked. They were able to stock up in the transfer portal this year. Plus, they had this really talented freshman coming in, so it kind of created a little bit of a backlog there. I guess so. The main concern I think a lot of people have is when you have any highly rated recruit redshirt, you go, okay, is he going to be happy? Is he going to transfer?
And that's why the conversations are ongoing. And that's, again, they've got to make it 100% clear, like what's better for your long-term future. And I think they're talking through all the factors that I said, and you've got to gauge like. And you don't want to turn him off by making a decision. It's got to be a collaborative thing. And if he understands it and buys into it and thinks like, hey, spending a year as the guy on the scout team can benefit him down the road, honestly, more so than
probably
in 5
more
minutes a game.
Yeah.
Then if he's in line with that and understands that, then I think that wouldn't be a bad path to go. But again, you got to see where his headspace is at and where his parents are thinking.
Let's get to the women real quick. They did not have the same success starting off their season. Lost 78-62 to South Dakota State. Obviously, much like the men's team, dealing with a bunch of new players, bunch of new faces. What did you see from Coach Flan and his squad on Monday when they fell to South Dakota State?
Yeah, Flan continues to make things tough on his teams in the non-conference. He opened with an NCAA tournament caliber team in South Dakota State, bringing back.
And they always play South Dakota State early in the season.
Exactly. He's got the relationships with some of the area schools. They're going to Drake for their second game.
Also not easy.
I mean, and Drake has a lot to replace, but like that's still road game in your second game against a quality program. And then they got Nebraska third. So there's no easing into things. And unfortunately, you've got.
Just dive right in, guys.
You got they started all of their non-freshmen. They only have 5 non-freshmen on the team.
Yeah, I mean, you're starting with an entirely new roster.
And 2 of them are sophomores that played very limited roles last year. You've got a transfer coming off an ACL tear, and 2 players that kind of were just role players last year that now have to be to kind of step into that kind of top option role as seniors. And I think that'll be a work in progress. But in Brooklyn Meyer, 6'2", again, she could play anywhere in the country if she wanted to, but she's loyal, stuck with South Dakota State. Preseason player of the year in the conference, averaged 17 a game last year, 6'2", just really skilled in the post. 33 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists, and 5 blocks in the first game.
That's pretty good.
They had no answer for her, and that's unfortunately
pretty good.
They haven't had an answer for talented posts over the last
for
few
a while.
years.
Yeah,
the
really guard dominant team.
The difference is they've had players like Morgan Malley and Emma Ronsick that can go get it back on the other end. And that's not necessarily the case. They don't have the same kind of firepower. So they're going to have to. Certainly not proven. Yeah. And they didn't. Flan said game plan wasn't good enough. We didn't have them ready to execute it well enough. And their doubles were kind of haphazard, and they're giving up cuts out of them. And they didn't double nearly enough either for the way that she was cooking. So it's a young team. Everybody's figure is in a role. There's a new role. There's nobody that is comfortable with what they're doing right now that has done it before. So fortunately, again, like the tough non-conference, but they'll take some lumps and they'll have to learn from it. But definitely reasons to be excited for the future. In this one, Ava Zedeker was the bright spot.
17 points, led the team in scoring off the bench.
She's the highest rated of this highly touted recruiting class. 4-star, top 100 player there. And she she missed some time, but she and Flan said she's probably behind where we thought she'd be.
Yeah, but she showed why she was. Yeah.
Scored 11 points in the third quarter, and it started with defense. She got a steal in the backcourt, went in, drew a foul, hit free throws.
Mm-hmm.
Next time down by herself, forced a 10-second violation.
Nice.
And then went down, banged 2 threes, and scored an and one. So just kind of took over in that third quarter. And third quarter was their best quarter of the game because it's the only one they won. But we saw Kendall McGee was really good. It was a D2 competition, but the plays that she was making, like, okay, I like that. I think that's going to be able to translate down the road. She's going to be a good player. And the Gesserts, I think they were both probably a little nervous first game at home or whatever. Didn't make a shot between them. But they're still very talented, and I think they'll be fine. So, yep, just there's gonna be some growing pains this year for everybody involved. But
I think we forget how long that core was together. I mean, it's like four basically 4 full years.
Yeah, Lauren transferred in after 1 year, but
so you had this feels like we're kind of on the starting edge of what that group was. Not to say that that group was spectacular, but not to say that they'll reach those same heights. But it feels like we're on the kind of resetting the cycle.
A young core that could very well grow together and be really good down the line, without a doubt. And they're not able to play in the transfer portal at a high rate against some of the some of the money that's been thrown around. They added one transfer, and she came from the Missouri Valley.
Yeah.
So like
they're just gonna build the roster differently than other teams now.
And it was a conscious decision. Hey, we're gonna go young this year. We're gonna give these kids a chance to play from day one. We really like this class. We think they can be special. So we'll take whatever lumps. Like they're confident enough in their ability to develop and figure things out. Probably not going to be what we've been used to the last few years, but that's okay. I think they're setting up for another run as long as Creighton fans can be patient and kind of find the joy in seeing these young kids grow up.
Sports fans, famously patient. So coming up this week, that is Sunday. They've got Drake, as you mentioned, going out to Des Moines for the women, and then the men travel to Gonzaga for a late night 9 p.m. tip on Tuesday the 11th. So that's what's coming up for both of those squads as well. JP, thanks for joining me. We'll let's do this again next week.
Sounds good.
All right, that's Jacob Padilla. That's a special bonus segment of Herd Out Sports Live. A little Blue Jay breakdown for you. Make sure you join next week as well. We'll have Nebraska shoot around and Blue Jay breakdown as little bonus segments again, pretty much every week throughout the basketball seasons.